Hey, Clear Lake peeps. Ross England here, Clear Lake Guide Service, with your Clear Lake report for the first report of the month of February. February 2nd, 2023. How are y'all? As you can see, beautiful day. You know, the thing with fishing winter here in Clear Lake is you get a lot of days like this. You can see all around me. Of course, I'm on the upper end of the lake, but very, very calm. You can also see I'm still bundled up in about 4 layers of clothes and a hat. But when you're sitting still, it feels pretty darn good. Okay, let's get into this report. Those of you who are interested in the tournament that took place this last weekend, I'll comment on it, put my 2 cents worth in at the end of this thing. Lake conditions, you're looking at roughly plus 4.4 Rumsey. It's, you know, it's creeping up. The creeks are still running. They're just not running very hard. So it's just, you know, it's just barely creeping up. And when you look at the gauge on the internet, it just, you can see it doing this. And that's because of some wind that's involved. But we'll round it off and call it 4.4, which is great. I mean, it's awesome. When you get around the lake and you look, it's like, oh, Clear Lake's back. That part's fun. There's water under docks. There's water up into the Tules. There's water up into willows. And oh, by the way, there's willows where they never were before. So it's very interesting looking around up here. Water clarity, and this is going to be couched just because all I've done today is spent the day on the upper end of the lake. It's got a brownish tint to it, and about the best that I could see was maybe 1.5 feet clarity. We'll just say between 1 and 1.5 feet of clarity. Water temperature dropped. It was cold. You know, I think it was 25 or 26 in Lakeport today. I think there was another day that it was down in the same range. Yeah, you know, it's wintertime. It's supposed to be 60 today. Started out at 25 or 26 this morning. So it's kind of had an impact on the water temperature. When I launched at the county park this morning, it was 45 degrees. The warmest water that I found today, you know, towards the end of my day over here in Nice on the North Shore, is 50. And that's about 1.5 degrees lower than I saw last week. So it's cooled down a little bit. Overall though, lake's in good condition. I'm sure that if I went down, you know, below the Narrows, the water is going to be clearer. But it also probably is going to be a little bit colder. I don't know how much, but you know, it typically runs 1 degree, 1.5 degrees at least. So there's your conditions. Upcoming activities. ABA Sunday out of Lakeport. I think last time they drew 11 boats or something like that. So we'll see what happens this particular weekend. With all the word about the bite and some of the, you know, really nice weights that came in this last weekend, that might entice, you know, some more people to come out and try to take their chances on Sunday. That takes care of those specs. Talking about fishing, I'll just give you the short version. I never got bit today. I spent a lot of time graphing. I fished between Quercus, all on the upper end. I fished between Quercus all the way up to South Lakeport. Skipped most of Lakeport, went in, spent some time in Nice, and that's where I pretty much ended up my day. Again, I spent a lot of time graphing, and I did see fish here and there, but I never really found anything that I could convert into a bite. I talked to 4 different boats today. None of us got a bite. Yet one of those boats watched one boat catch 6 fish in a short period of time. So, you know, there's fish up here, but what I was doing and apparently where I was doing it didn't cut it. So I still think overall it's a tough bite. I think that when you look at some of the weights that came from this last weekend, some really good, I mean, there's no two ways about it. I mean, there was over 30, almost 40 20-pound bags. So really for January, way out of the normal as far as, you know, the weights that were produced. Also, the good news was there was a couple of double-digit fish weighed in. No 9s, if I remember correctly. There was a handful of 8s, you know, quite a few 7s and 6s. So, you know, 5s, 6s, and 7s, pretty healthy bunch of fish right now. Keep in mind, just because you have 20 or 30 bags that are over 20 pounds, you also had 30 teams who didn't weigh in a limit of fish in 2 days. And while I realize some people had fish on day 1 and just knew they weren't in the running, they didn't weigh in on day 2. That's not how you end up with 3 fish or 4 fish. There was you know, almost a third of the field that couldn't put together a limit. So those are the people that I'm talking to, and you know, when I do this, I'll tell you, it's just not an easy bite right now. Once we get a little bit more surface temp, especially on this end, and I'd like to see the water clear up a little bit more. This end will start to, I'm assuming, will start to fire off, and everybody will be a lot happier. I talked to 2 different people locals that, you know, I ran into, and I asked them if they had tried live bait, and both of them had said yes, they had, and all they caught were catfish. So I don't know what to tell you. I think the bite is still tough. I think it was freakish what happened this past weekend. Hats off to the guys who figured it out, who found fish, and were able to capitalize on it. Looked like it was a really well-run tournament as well. So hats off as well to Newt and Jen for, you know, a good event, and hopefully putting Clear Lake back on a positive note for a while. We'll see how it goes. For me, I'm going to remain positive. I'm going to say it was a beautiful day. The lake looks great, and I just suck. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.